Pew, 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 pew. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Saturday Weapon Ray. Okay, let's get right into it. No point in wasting time. Today, the CZ P10C. It is unloaded. Okay, it's unloaded. Everything's good. All right, so this is my current carry weapon. I used to carry the Glock 19, which was episode 1. So if you haven't seen episode 1 or 2, I suggest you go back. I talk about the pros and cons of basically everything that I have on the gun and how it's set up. And we're going to approach this episode the same way. So again, this is my current carry. And I'm going to talk about why I chose this over the Glock 19. I'm sure I'm going to probably get a lot of people ragging on me that I carry this over the Glock 19. But for me, I like this just a little bit better. All right, so let's get into what this is. So again, this is the CZ P10C Tactical. So the Tactical comes with the threaded barrel. It comes with 3 extended magazines. So these actually hold 17 rounds here. And then it came with suppressor height sights. Now, because I had some work done up here, these are different suppressor height sights, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So, couple things about the P10C. This is the same width as the Glock 19. It's a little bit longer, but it's the same width. So this gun actually will fit in most holsters that are also made for the Glock 19, which is actually really nice. So if you have a standard Glock 19 and you have a standard CZ P10C, for the most part, minus a couple holsters, this will fit in the Glock 19 holsters. So that's nice. So less holsters to buy, right? Holsters can be expensive. They can cost anywhere from like $40 all the way up to $140. So that's nice. So we have a dense polymer lower, and then a black nitride upper. The barrel is cold hammer forged, which is really nice. So the cold hammer forge will just, that whole process, it's a little complicated, but the process will basically make the barrel more accurate. And it's just more of a precise development process when it comes to the barrel, okay? Threaded barrel here, it adds a little bit more length, but again, you can take this thread suppressor off and add a suppressor, so that's good. I do have a suppressor that I do run on this every now and then. The other thing that I do like, so I was actually able to get this gun for $400, and which is about $100 to $150 less than the Glock 19. And I think this has a lot over the Glock 19. One, it comes with 3 mags, extended mags. The Glock, I think, only comes with 2 mags. This has really, really good slide serrations. All right, some of the best, in my opinion, that come on a handgun. So they're the slide serrations are really rigid and they're deep and they offer great grip. So if you want to do a press check from the rear, check this out, press check from the rear, right? Or if you do press checks from the front, right? You're doing press checks here. It's really good and it's really easy to get a grip on. So that's really good. You have the rear and front slide serrations. The other thing too is that it is completely ambi. All right, so you've got ambi slide releases on both sides, and you also have ambi mag releases on both sides. So that's really nice. It took Glock like 5 generations to start doing ambi. This is a first gen, and I really like that. You can also see that the trigger space, okay, so the trigger guard here is extended, this is way bigger than the Glock 19, which is something that I like, because if you're shooting with gloves, let's say, if it's a colder day out, you have a lot of space in here to manipulate the trigger. And you've got all of that extra space here for movement, which is great. The other thing that I like is this checkered stippling here. I think this stippling is really good. For me, it's perfect. It's just enough. It digs into my hand just enough to give me a good grip, but it doesn't chew up my palm. This also does come with adjustable and replaceable back straps, right? So if you have different size hands, that's good. And then the extended mag is also good. Now, a couple things that I don't like about this is, well, let me get back to one thing that I do like is this beaver tail here is really pronounced and really deep. So I can really get a firm, high grip on this gun, and it just feels really good to shoot. I feel like I've got a lot of control with this gun when I'm shooting it, and it just feels great. So that's another thing is the ergonomics on this gun, in my opinion, are far superior, to the Glock 19. Now, a couple things, let's get into a couple things that I don't like. So a couple things that I don't like are the slide releases here. So these are aftermarket slide releases, and they sit out a little bit further from the slide as the OEM ones do, or the stock ones do. But you still see that they're pretty flush. Well, the stock slide releases were very flush to the body of the gun, and I could not get enough on them to rack the slide. And that was a big problem for me. So I did have to upgrade, and these weren't cheap. These were like $90, which I think is severely overpriced. But there's really no other options out there for me, or at least when I was looking, there was nothing else was in stock except these. And so I just went with these, and these work fine now. They're very easy. I can get it every time now. No matter what, I can rack the slide and no problem. So, but I did have to upgrade that. The other thing too is I also upgraded the trigger. So I don't think you can really see. So this is a Precision Overwatch flat face trigger. So the stock trigger on this gun was actually quite good. It was about 5.5 pound trigger pull, and it was pretty smooth. It had a nice, crisp, clean break, and and then the reset was audible and tactile. So it was really good. But I went with this. It was just, the pull is just a little bit less. You're looking at a couple millimeters of pull. Very distinct wall. Again, both tactile and audible break. And then the reset is really short, and then you're able to pull the trigger again. The other thing that I do like is that the built-in safety here runs flush with the trigger. So once you engage that safety and you start to pull back, there's no little lip, there's no little indent. It's just flush with the trigger, which I really like. The problem, though, is maybe it was just this gun, but there's a rear pin back here that was a pain in the ass to take out. And so this whole trigger swap should have taken 10, maybe 15 minutes. For me, it took almost 40 because this rear roll pin would just not come out. And I almost thought about just saying screw it and give it to a gunsmith to work on, because I was worried I was actually going to damage the gun. I was able to get it because I'm stubborn, and I was able to get it, but it was a pain in the butt. And these rear pins are known to be very stubborn to come out. So if you do get a CZ P10C and you do want to take it apart to swap out anything or just do a field strip for cleaning, this rear pin will most likely be a problem. All right, you can get it out, but it's going to be tough. So that's another thing that I don't like about this gun, is that rear pin was super difficult to work with. Okay, takedown is very similar to a Glock. The one thing that I don't like is that you have to pull the trigger to take apart the gun. So you definitely have to make sure, double, triple, quadruple check that it's empty. Pull the trigger, slide this back a little bit, pull these down, and then you're good to go. So that's essentially your basic strip, and you're good to go. You've got your spring right here, your barrel can come out, and then you can get to the inner workings of the gun right here. And then you just slide it back on and you're good to go. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other things that I have done on this gun. So I do have a Streamlight, and I've actually done some accidental discharges, because the one thing that I do have a complaint about with this Streamlight is that these paddles here are so light and they're so finicky that I can turn it on really easily. Now, the reason I did go with this over a Surefire is, again, some people say it's not really practical. For me, I liked it to have as an option because I want to have as many non-lethal options to protect myself before I have to go to a lethal. So a flashlight can be a deterrent. You can disorient somebody, and that can be a deterrent. This is 1,000 lumen, but the thing that I do like is that it does have the strobe effect. And that is even more disorienting than just the standard solid white light. So that's why I did choose this. It's also really easy to install. There's just a little turn screw here, and you just, you slide this on the rail underneath, and you just tighten it up, and it's good to go. So I do like that. The other thing that I've done is I have a Holosun 508T. I somehow was able to get this. This is almost impossible to find in the United States right now with everything going on, and it has been almost impossible to find. I don't know how I was able to get this, but there are a ton of people looking for this thing and nobody can find it. So I'm lucky and grateful that I was able to get one. So in my Glock 19 video, I said that the Trijicon was kind of the gold standard. In general, the Trijicon is the gold standard. For me, I will actually take a Holosun over a Trijicon any day just because of what this offers. So right off the bat, the Trijicon RMR is about $550 to $600. This I was able to get for $370. So from a price point standpoint, this wins. This is made out of titanium, which the Trijicon RMR is not. I think that's just a hard aluminum. So this is going to be more durable. Battery life is about the same. It's about 50,000 hours or so. But this has a solar panel on top, so a solar failsafe. So if this is in a well-lit area like it is now, it can actually draw power from the light and actually reserve the battery, which is great. So even though this is rated at about 50,000 hour battery life, which is like 5 years or something, it could potentially have indefinite battery life because of the solar failsafe, which is awesome. The other thing that I like is that this is the battery tray right here. So you actually don't have to remove the optic from the gun to change out the battery. Unlike the Trijicon, the battery goes underneath, and so you actually have to take the optic completely off. And at that point, you're going to have to re-zero it because you've taken it off now. And so it's just more inconvenient than this. The other thing that I like is that this has 3 different reticle options. So it has a 2 MOA dot, it has a 32 MOA circle, and then it has the 32 MOA circle with the 2 MOA dots. So you actually get 3 different reticle options, whereas compared to the Trijicon RMR, you only have 1 reticle option. All right, so that's a pro for this. The other thing too is that this has 10 daylight settings and then 2 night vision settings, which is similar to the RMR. But I personally love Holosuns, again, for what they offer and for their price point. The other thing too is their customer service is absolutely fantastic. I had an issue with one of my, it actually wasn't an optic, but it was a mount for the optic. And I had some issues with it. And I gave them the serial number, and they gave me exactly what I needed, and they reached out to me extremely quick, and I didn't have to pay for shipping, and they priority mailed it for me, so it was like 2-day priority mail, and they're awesome there. So that alone will, you're gonna keep my business just for your customer service, but they also make a great product as well. Okay, moving on. I did get work done from ATEI. It's a company here in Michigan. They do great work. And they also set me up with these suppressor height sights. So I've got a blacked out rear sight, and I also have a blacked out front sight as well. And you can actually see the red dot right there. And I'm actually going to see if I can show you the other options for, yeah, here we go. So here's the other option. So here's the 32 MOA circle right there. And then we'll get the 32 MOA circle with the 2 MOA dot. Okay, so there that is. Now all you have to do is you just hold down the minus button over here. These are the brightness buttons, but if you just hold down the minus for about 3 seconds, it's going to change. And so that's good. I really like that. It's very easy. Other than that, I think, oh, the other good thing that I do like about the CZ is that I'm going to have to grab a round for this, but if the gun's empty and you take the mag out and you reload, they actually have this system built in where you don't even have to rack the slide or pull it back. If you chamber, I guess, if you insert the mag hard enough, the slide will actually rack on its own. Now, I don't think it's going to do this with an empty. No, and it won't do it with an empty. It'll stay locked open. But that's the one thing that is good, is that it will actually just automatically chamber around, which I do really like. And that's something that this offers that the Glock 19 does not. Other than that, I think that's about it. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. And please like and share this video if you find it informative. If you hate it, then let me know you hate it. I'm open to criticism, open to anything like that. So again, if you like this video, please share it. I'll see you on the next one.